we're all good to go, Corey?
Yep, all three of those items you mentioned have started.
This meeting will come to order. This is the Erda City Council meeting held on Thursday, March 3rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. The meeting is here at the Tooele County Auditorium located at 47 South Main Street, Tooele, Utah. We'll start off with a roll call. Terry Miner.
Here.
Cale Martin.
Here.
Jess Bird is here. Craig Smith.
Here.
Scott Dubay.
Here.
We are all here. And we will now proceed to a pledge. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Craig, I think it might be your turn.
It's been a while.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start off our meeting with public comment. Do we have a sign-in sheet up there?
Do not.
Paper.
Did.
And then the extra pen. Extra pen.
Sorry. Still one of Scott's because he has two. Yep.
March. If you'd like to address the council, come on up to the podium and sign your name, tell us who you are, and let us know what you have to say.
Is there anybody online?
There are people online, but nobody who's wanting to make a comment.
Going.
Seeing no public comment, I move we close public comment.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we close public comment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comment closed. Thank you. Got next, approved meeting minutes from February 24th. Everybody ready to vote on that? Correct. Hopefully if you had corrections, they were made already. I'll move that we go ahead and approve the meeting minutes from February 24th.
Second.
Seconded that we approve these minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And are there any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll dive right in. We've got resolution number 22-08. A resolution notifying Tooele County of acceptance of a revised offer RE financial payments and municipal services dated February 24th, 2022. Proposal B with the solid waste option of January 1st through 2022 through June 30th, 2027. 5.5 years. I'll read the last paragraph. Now therefore be it resolved, the council hereby accept the Tooele County revised offer RE financial payments and municipal services dated February 24th, 2022, proposal B with the solid waste option of January 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2027, 5.5 years, and authorize the chair to notify Tooele County of such acceptance. Is there any discussion on this?
So when does the law enforcement end? Is that September?
That would be in the proposal, but if I'm remembering correctly, it will end in June 30th with a 3-month extension possible with another 3-month extension possible.
And then
Everybody else remembers.
accepting the solid waste, are we still following the law with our RFP that we put out for solid waste by accepting this? It doesn't, we're not breaking any laws or anything. We had given ample enough time for.
We still have the RFP out.
Yeah.
But we can accept or reject any and all offers when they come.
Okay,
So,
since we've already got this figured out. Okay, that sounds good.
Anything else?
It would seem to me that if you're gonna accept the solid waste proposal, you probably ought to notify people that are preparing the response to that RFP.
Yeah, I thought once the interlock agreement was done, we would do that.
I did get an email question on that earlier this week.
I did too.
Pretty vague.
The question period has ended,
Mhm.
so if any more questions come, you can't answer them.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
We're
So-
accepting this one tonight, looks like anyway, so.
Yeah.
And so all that's left on this, John, is just to sign it with Colin Winchester, or that's all we have left to do to get this
This
agreement?
is giving them notice, formal notice. I've already given them verbal and email notice to accept it, but this is a formal recognition from the council that we accept that offer. And I hope we're working on interlocals. Because he said he would take the first draft, and I told you that if it was him, it would take longer than if it were me.
But it doesn't have to go back before the county.
The interlocals will.
What? Okay.
We have promises that we've got services until these interlocal agreements can be completed, right, so. Okay, any other discussion? All right, I'll move that we, adopt resolution number 2208, accepting the county's offer, as described in this document. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Guess we did not get a second on that motion.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Can we get a second on this resolution 2208?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt this resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. Oh, we're gonna get to break these up a little bit. We have a treasurer report.
Just as an update, we currently have about $3,000 taking a nap in checking. Because it's for building permits, so as soon as we get the bill from the engineers that actually do it, the money will go right probably back to them. So it's like I said, it's just kind of taking a nap, so. But I did want to bring out how dedicated the city council is in trying to survive and help her to make it through this trying time, because as of this date, the council itself, out of pocket, has paid $12,000 to pay off bills incurred during the certification process. So that should show you how dedicated we are to making sure Erda becomes a city and survives. So we are grateful that the county has given us some money to, because some of us, it's on a pension, our pockets are already inside out, so we can't afford much more coming out. So we appreciate the county coming forward and giving us a hand.
Well said.
Then the next thing is the roads, they're getting ready to do their fuel tax. And so then we needed to set up a PTIF account. So we're gonna go through that tonight, the referendum to set that up.
Do you have anything else before we go on to that PTIF account resolution?
Well, the only other thing is that I guess they came up in Tuesday's night meeting, came up with a price for the population distribution. And it was around 296,000, I believe, which was like a couple thousand higher than what the feasibility study had on it. So that's a good thing. So,
That is. A week or so ago, a few of the county people that were looking at it were pretty discouraged about the amount of money that it looked like was going to be coming from the statewide sales tax fund to Erda. But when they got right down to brass tacks, it looked a lot better than what they thought. So that's a good thing for us. we probably won't see any money until the end of March from that, and then we get money every 2 months.
It's quarterly. And I think the first payment, I believe I
My
was told,
understanding that
was about $70,000
county was gonna pay us the
quarterly.
first quarter of that sales tax on March 15th.
Is it the 15th?
Either March or April. It's quarterly, so whenever it's not a part of that 300, the property tax, it's part of its own thing.
The point I kinda wanna make is the county is responsible for giving us the first portions, and then eventually they'll start coming to us in July, I think.
I think the county's gonna do it all this year, I'm not sure. Just give us like whatever it is every quarter.
Okay. Alright. Alright, anything else from the treasurer?
Is it just a PTIF?
Move on to, resolution 22-12, PTIF account authorized individuals. PTIF account is, an account that every government entity or in the state is gonna have, which basically holds the majority of whatever funds that entity has. And then, so most funds come into that PTIF account and then get dispersed to different accounts and get spent from there. And so we're going to authorize 2 or 3 people here to be able to move money to and from that account. And I think this deserves some discussion. So, like I say, it's basically an authorization, and then we have the names, and I think we should discuss those names. What names do you have so far, Terry?
Right now, it's me or Scott and I, since we're both on the checks that we sign and as far as the financial and stuff like that, so that's for now.
My understanding that Dave also wanted to be on this, Dave Sanderson. So, John, I'd ask, what's your opinion on doing that?
Sixes. Terry's response is well, and when I have treasurer, of course.
I don't know Dave, I'm sure he's a great guy. Just my gut feeling says we keep it in-house for now.
I agree.
I think that puts protection on it.
Doesn't cause any offense or anything, and if it ends up being that it's too difficult to operate this way, I'm sure we could add him on later or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So we've got our 2 names. The rest is just details about the city, what date we adopted this resolution. And this goes back to the state treasurer's office. Is there any further discussion on resolution 22-12?
I move we adopt resolution 22-12.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 22-12. All in favor say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? All right. I'll, sorry, sometimes I forget to vote aye. We'll say it's unanimous, and I vote yes. Okay, passes unanimous. All right, we'll move on to land use and zoning. Fee schedule for conditional use permit and subdivision applications. Craig, I'm gonna let you drive a little bit. I've got 2 latest revisions from Jake Clegg, based on these. I don't know if, I just got these, so you wouldn't have the revisions.
I do not.
I just sent them to you, so they're on your email.
Okay. What I see here is a Tooele County form with Erda's logo on it. That's what it looks like to me. Basically, so this is the site plan review application. The fee is $1,500. This is for commercial and industrial. Has information about the parcel, section, township, range, parcel number, lot number, subdivision name, information about the property owner. if your property owner has an agent, has a place for you to put your name and address. There's a clause in here that says, there shall be no presumption of approval of any aspect of the process. Each application for a conditional use permit shall have all required submittals before it is accepted as a complete application.
So I guess my only question here is, I thought last week we made a motion to allow Jake to build this. As long as it had John Brem's approval, it was done.
Okay.
Was I misunderstanding what we did last week?
Sounds familiar, and it's got the fees that we have on here. The one we don't have is the home occupation $200 fee. We adopted that fee, but I don't have any form.
But we don't have the form done for it.
But again, as long as John approves it.
As long as the fee schedule is what we approved and John approves the form,
So John, why don't you look at these and then just get back to Jake, and if it has your approval, and then we can move forward with these forms.
Okay.
Discussion on conditional use permit and subdivision applications. Moving on to resolution 22-09. Resolution of the Erda Council approving a meeting schedule for the Erda Planning Commission. Corey told me tonight that they're going back and forth on where they're actually gonna be meeting. So I'm gonna move that we table this till next meeting, till after their next meeting, so 2 more weeks.
Story is that this room is double booked for one of the meetings a month. And so we're trying to decide if we want to move the dates or move the location. We just need to have that discussion.
I'll need a second on that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we table resolution 22-09. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We got that tabled. Resolution 22-10, a resolution of the Erda Council approving rules of order and procedure for the Erda Planning Commission. Corey, is there any reason why we don't vote this up tonight?
Not that I can think of.
Any discussion on this? They basically adopted our rules.
Same one that we have. Okay.
yeah, we appointed them. I think we let them adopt their own rules and we approve it.
Okay. I'll move that we adopt resolution number 22-10. Been moved and seconded that we adopt this resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And are there any opposed? Passes unanimously. Resolution 22-11, a resolution approving contract for general plan services with Somas Corp. And I'll just go back, I'll read the last paragraph here. It says, now therefore be it resolved that the council hereby authorizes and directs the chair to execute and deliver contract with Somas Corp for these services for an amount not to exceed $25,000. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. The first paragraph, Erda City Council met in regular meeting on March 3rd, 2022 to consider, among other things, approving a contract for general plan services. So the Planning Commission met on Tuesday this week and had a unanimous vote to recommend that the City of Erda City Council engage with Somas for a contract not to exceed $25,000 for the creation of a general plan and the public input process that goes along with that. Is there any discussion on this one?
So remind me, they already have this done because they did it when the county authorized it. And so we need to pay them just for that portion of it, or?
that's part of it, cause it's copyrighted material, but the other part of it is that we get Erda's input on any changes that we wanna make to it.
Okay, so we're not just buying what they've already done, we're actually
no, there's-
engaging them to,
Making it whole new.
This is basically the full public input process with some changes to what's already been done. And that's why this is 25,000 and not triple the price.
They already have all the data points, everything there.
I haven't actually seen it. But I understand there's some things that we're not gonna like.
They're just gonna tailor it to us now.
What?
They're gonna tailor it to what we want.
I've wrestled with this one a lot because the general plan doesn't have to be complicated. Matter of fact, I think statutorily, we could get some crayons and a big piece of paper and build our own, as long as it met the minimum requirements. But this is a good deal for a comprehensive plan. It's still $25,000 though, so I've wrestled with it a lot, and I'm still not sure what to think about it.
If I might misquote our attorney here, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said something along the lines, if Somas will do this for $25,000, it's a steal.
It was something similar to that, I believe.
Yeah, usually general plans run $100,000 to $200,000.
The way I see it is
This would
anything,
be the guide, you know. This is where the citizens get to express their opinions, and Somas is gonna facilitate that, and you'll get to hear what the public thinks. And to me, that's valuable.
anything that engages the public, I think is gonna be valuable, and we'll just hope for just to fill the whole place every time they have a public engagement meeting, so. Any other discussion? Ready to vote?
You'll love this. I might want to modify the resolution a little bit to say that the Land Use and Zoning Committee engage with SOMAS, but we allow the chair to enter into the contract. Then me and you can go sit down, talk with them about what we want, and then you're allowed to sign the contract with them if it's what we decide to do.
So you're proposing a decision still be made at that point?
I think that me and you go sit down with them, talk about them, see what they'll offer, see exactly what they'll charge, and then we had to sign the contract with them. But after that discussion,
Think that's a good idea, John, or no?
All the talking can't hurt.
I think we should authorize the chair to sign the contract, as long as it's what we think is a good idea. I think largely it will be.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Extra discussion just to be sure that nothing's getting through that we don't know about.
I mean, the only thing that'd be a problem is if they change the price. I mean, we already know what we're getting, so
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's.
I'm sure they're not
Could
gonna
be
change the
raised.
price on us. Yeah.
So if we had it as the Land Use Zoning Committee engages with them, and the chair can sign the contract.
Okay, so maybe we should insert some words between services and for. So, sorry, I didn't expect any changes on these, so I didn't.
I wasn't expecting any changes on it either, to be
So-
honest with you.
What we've got here is,
Are they necessary is my question.
Well,
I think that's what we're talking about, right?
that's a good point, so.
We've already said we're gonna have Somas, they went to the planning and zoning. They kicked it back to us because we sent it to them, say, you guys look at this. Tell us what you decide is the best plan. They sent us the best plan back. So then we took their proposal and says, okay, this is what they said they wanted. Somas, 25,000, we're done.
and we're approving 25,000 in this resolution, so I don't, if they were to change it, we'd have to come back to the table anyway.
Would, it's just a discussion on what they might do. We might get them to lower the price.
I think it's not to exceed, you know what I put in
That
there.
is what it said.
25. All right. What do you want it to say and where do you want it to say it? And I'm gonna write it down and then we're gonna vote it up or down.
Only that the planning, oh,
That's
don't let me write it.
I'm gonna write it. You tell me where you want it. I would say after services and then put in after the planning and zoning committee has met with.
Why don't you say something like, we direct, Craig and Jess to meet with them and the chair is authorized to execute contract. Isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Have we talked to them other than that one time when they came here?
That's the only time we've talked to them at all.
So that leaves me really with a fuzzy idea of what exactly we're contracting with them to do.
I think it's 2 public events. Then to create the plan, just, I guess it'll be like the county's plan, just built for Erda City.
Part of what I like to meet with them is not just, will they do it for 25,000, but what is their timeline?
Yeah.
And I,
That'll be done on the contract, right, when we set up the contract.
yeah, I think it's something we need to do quickly. I think it's something we need to get on very quickly.
Next week, yeah.
Next week. I love being in just a schedule.
After meeting with the planning commission, or I'm sorry, planning and zoning committee.
Seems like we're playing ping pong.
All right, so now therefore be it resolved that the council hereby authorizes and directs the chair to execute and deliver a contract with Somas Corp. For these services after a meeting with the planning and zoning committee for an amount not to exceed 25,000. All right, so let's have a vote on the amendment, if everybody understands it. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Okay, so we're not voting on the resolution right now. We're just voting to add Craig's text here. So I'll move. Craig, why don't you make a motion?
I move that we amend resolution, what is this?
22-11.
22-11. Adding the language of after meeting with the planning and zoning committee and their approval, that the chair can execute the contract with Somas.
The planning and zoning's already given the approval, that's why they sent it back to us.
No,
He's saying planning and zoning committee, not planning and
Committee.
zoning
me
commission.
and Jess. And that's gonna happen.
So can you guys overrule the planning and zoning? Can the committee overrule the planning and zoning commission?
The council.
The council can, yeah, but can the committee? Because you're just talking about the committee, not the council.
Yeah, the planning and
Saying
zoning.
you guys can up and down it.
The Planning and Zoning Commission is only a body that they're a recommending body.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, it sounds to me like it's, you guys are putting that in your hands to either up and down, Soma's deal, and not the council or the planning and zoning, because everybody else has already done that.
It would allow us to do it, but only if we say to do it.
And I trust you two enough. If there was like, Soma said, we're gonna do this for less, but we're gonna take out these things, instead of you guys just making the decision, you'd come back and say, Somas wants to take these out.
If there's something we don't
I
like,
think it makes sense. If we sit down with them and we see
if there's something we
red
don't like, we
flags,
don't have to do the
then
deal.
we don't do it. But
But
I can tell you right now, if there's not something huge, we're doing it. It's been recommended by the planning commission.
Okay, yeah.
Something that I feel personally that we ought to do. As a matter of fact, I think we all feel that way, so.
Yeah. And I mean, if they give you a different offer or something like that, we gotta be transparent and come back to public meetings, which I think is what Terry's referring to. I like it.
Need a second for that? Did I second it? Is that what? Oh.
Did you just second it? I've been waiting for that. Did you, have you asked for one or if you were giving one?
I just asked, but I'll second it.
Okay, then moved and seconded that we add, help me with this text, Craig. That we add the language after a meeting with the planning and zoning committee and after the approval of this committee for an amount not to exceed 25,000 is where it goes after that. Okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the motion. We're gonna add this text. It was seconded. We'll call it to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed?
No?
Passes unanimously, so now we've got a
Oh. He's taking that literally, see, he asked, is there any
Objections?
opposed, and you said no.
I think he means that's a no vote.
Yes.
Or one.
passes
Aye.
4-1. Thank you. And sorry about that, Terry.
Just a minor mistake.
Maybe I should say that a different way. Are there any opposed? No? Okay. All right. We've got an amended document that we need to vote up or down. So now we're gonna vote. I'll move that we adopt resolution number 22-11 as amended.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt this resolution as amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And are there any opposed? Thank you. Passes 4 out of 5. Ordinance number 22-12, adopting fees for conditional uses, amending ordinance 22-09. All right, amendment to ordinance 22-09, section 11, fee schedule, conditional uses. The line item identified as conditional uses not currently allowed is deleted, and the following is inserted in lieu thereof. Conditional uses, $600. Home occupations, $200. Gravel pits, $1,000. Gravel pits is supposed to be $2,000. It was. I don't think we need to vote on that. We already agreed on 2,000, so I'm gonna make that change. All other provisions of ordinance 22-09 remain unchanged, and it takes effect immediately. Is there any discussion on this?
I thought we went over this pretty good last year,
Yep, we
last
did.
week. I move we adopt ordinance 22-12.
Second. Okay. I've been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 22-12. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. And are there any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, we have to discuss our referendum checklist. It's the one that says draft in front of you. This is the resolution, or I'm sorry, the referendum that was served on ordinance 22-10, referring to chapter 31 in the Tooele County's code that we adopted. And this is a bunch of dates that comply with the code, and John has created this document and the dates. So John, is there anything you wanna communicate to us on this?
Yeah, a couple things I wanna call to your attention. That is, when do you wanna hold the election?
General election in November.
Okay, so you need to get out in front of it. And, are you gonna ask the county to put it on the ballot? And are they then gonna run the election for you?
I would think that would be something we have to work through the council and ask them if they'd be willing to do it for a fee.
They'll do it for a fee. Question is whether you wanna pay it or not. Otherwise, I don't know how you're gonna run an election.
It's gonna be much cheaper to run it on the general election than hold our own special election.
This first year anyway, until we get some staff trained and,
Well, even if you have a staff, you don't wanna do it.
okay. Then, yeah, we'll approach the county council and,
I think the county's fee is $1 or $2 a ballot, something like that.
Last one cost us $4,000 for that last election.
Correct. So
probably about 4,000.
this will cost us about $4,000.
Well, if you can get this elected for $4,000, that's still. Because Salt Lake County charges a lot more.
Well, so if it was a special election, it would cost us a lot more than that. Where there's already ballots going out in the general, I think they'll add it to it for the $2.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is we probably ought to get out in front of it, talk to them. Because there may be other things on the ballot, they may have to add a second page, charge you more. I mean, these are things that we have to have discussions now because they think of these things far in advance.
Okay,
I'll reach out to Tracy.
Okay. That's assuming they get their signatures.
They charge $2 a ballot. So the last one was $4,404 to be exact. It was a 2021 election.
Okay, anything else on this? Anything having to do with the dates or?
No, I just put it together as part of my homework to make sure I know what's coming up. Gave it to you also, so you know what's coming up.
We have a fiscal and legal impact statement due by the 21st of March.
Right, and I've given out the draft. I did both the fiscal and the legal, so you guys can monkey with it however you want.
Okay.
But it is 98 words with one blank in there. So you can add 2 words to it. When you add more words to it, then you gotta take them out somewhere else.
Did everyone get that email? Does anybody remember getting that?
I saw it,
But
yeah.
that doesn't mean I didn't get it.
Okay. How about this?
Yeah, I've talked to Craig about it. He had a couple.
I'm pretty sure I found it. If I remember right. I think I
Terry,
found it.
did you see it? Do you need me to resend that?
What is it?
It's the, so as part of this, we are obligated to do a fiscal and legal impact statement, based on this referendum. And so I think maybe I'll recirculate that. Do we need to vote that up or down in a meeting?
No, just give me your comments.
It has to be under 100 words. Huh?
Yes.
Can you go that high?
Yeah.
All right, anything else on the
No, I can't.
referendum dates and checklist? Okay, I thought right now would be a good place to talk about the, I think, is it called an estoppel certificate that we requested? You want me to turn that over to you, John?
Sure. So Oak Point Development Agreement has what they call a estoppel certificate request, where they're asking the city that we are not, that the seller or the developer is not in default. So it's likely what they're gonna do is sell it, my guess, is sell it to somebody, and the buyer is saying, well, I wanna do my due diligence, I need this estoppel certificate from the city saying that they're in compliance, there's no breach. So, I got this today. And I've been thinking about it. And I don't know what you guys wanna do. And I would suggest you don't need to decide this today, but here are some of your options. We can just give them the estoppel certificate that they asked for. That way you're given and saying, okay, whatever the deal is, it is. We can pare down the estoppel certificate because it's much broader than what it says in the development agreement. All the development agreement says is that you say that we're not in breach. Of course you're not in breach because you haven't done anything. I mean, it's very new. And this came a little earlier than I was hoping because I was hoping it'd be off a little ways because I wanted to give it some thought that is this something that we want to recognize? The development agreement, or do we want to fight it? So the statute basically says whatever rights they had in the county incorporation, it carries over. But that's a land use concept. And so I've just been noodling and thinking on this. Is the contract is between the county and the developer. We're not a party to it. Why do we have to comply with the contract? That's one argument. We probably have to recognize their vested rights, whatever they may be. And I tried to read through the plan, and it's very confusing to me what the deal is. So I'd have to give that some more thought, and I don't know what they're vested in and what they're not vested in. But whatever it is, we'll have to comply with it at the end of the day. The question is, I don't know what's vested.
So this was served today,
It was today, I got mine today.
and I believe they want the response, they would like a response within 20 days?
Yeah, within 20 days.
So would we be much better to just go over this during the week and then?
Yeah, we just got it. It's something to start thinking about. So here's what the estoppel certificate says, is that they are not in default. That's what the actual certificate language says. But I think what they're asking for is a little bit broader. Let's have to look at that. I don't want to start a fight at this point. I just want to have you guys start thinking about it and then decide what you want to do. So here's some interesting things. The certificate of incorporation with Lieutenant Governor was approved January 3rd. This master development agreement was recorded January 3rd. And our local entity plat.
We weren't certified, we weren't recorded until the 5th.
The certificate from the Lieutenant Governor stated the 3rd.
But it wasn't recorded at the county till the 5th.
Right, but it was recorded, the local entity plat was recorded after the master development agreement. If we're talking about timing issues. I just found that interesting that
Sounds to me like we've got a lot more research to do on how we're gonna respond to this, and we've got 20 days, and
Right, and so I was also contemplating, is this something we wanna propose some changes to? There's a couple things in this that I would absolutely put in. And I was really shocked that they weren't in there. So I'd at least want, if we're gonna ask to change it, I at least want to put some more things in it. As to the plan, that's planning commission and you guys. It was hard for me I couldn't figure out what they were doing. And I don't know if that's what you guys want, or if you want something else. I don't even know if they would be subject to negotiation, if they would agree to renegotiate.
I have a question on that. How could they be in default?
They're not.
I know, right? They want to make sure that they're,
The buyer,
the buyer wants to make
the
sure
buyer
that
is
nothing's
doing
gonna hold up
due
the sale.
The buyer's doing due diligence, saying, city, are these guys in default? Because we're gonna pay a lot of money for this property, we wanna dot our i's and cross our t's, and this is one of the I dots.
Just make sure there's not a lien on it.
yeah, I always interpret default as a financial thing, but it can apply to more than that.
Sure. They could agree to do the covenant to make certain acts, do certain things. It's fairly standard, the estoppel certificate is not a surprise. Fairly standard, you see them a lot in leases. And you see them in development agreements. They wanna sell it, the buyer wants to make sure that he's buying, he's getting what he's paying for. Because the last thing he wants to do is buy himself a lawsuit. At least at the price he's paying nowadays. If he's buying a lawsuit, he'll probably modify the price, change it. So the couple of things that just jump out at me in this development agreement is it has a provision in there that they'll give money to the city and property. But it doesn't say when. So it could be 20 years from now. So I would want to fill that one. Then the other is a lesson we learned from Twila City. I always stick in all my development agreements a provision that there's no monetary damages. So if there's a lawsuit, the court then orders us to do stuff, but they don't tag us with money damages. So those are two things. I've been putting those in my development agreements for ever since Twila City got nuked.
I think we can learn a lot from what Twila City went through.
Sure, we don't learn by everybody's mistakes, and we're done.
Alright,
So just noodle on that, give us some thought.
Where can we look at the development agreement?
I can send it to you if you'd like.
Could you? Probably about this thick, isn't it?
I have it electronically, actually. Yeah, it's like 50 pages. It's pretty nice reading.
Is it?
Yeah.
If you're into that kind of thing?
Actually, I don't know who negotiated it for the developer, but the form sure looks familiar to one that I've done before, so.
Oh, no.
Yeah, somebody stole some of their stuff.
Well, we're guilty of that ourselves, so. It's good, use it. All right, John, you said you had a few things for me tonight. Is that the bulk of it?
I do have a couple more things. So when you got served with this letter, for the estoppel certificate, they used the county address.
Yeah,
And that reminded me, we need to register our location for service and process.
is there any reason we can't wait 1 to 2 more weeks?
You can wait as long as you want,
Okay.
but that's where it will go. And you can change it too, if you want. But I do have the registration information. It goes to 2 places, the Department of Commerce and the Lieutenant Governor's office.
And if I remember right, that was required in state code. It's
Yes.
gotta be done, so. Okay. I think I wanna make that address whatever our office location ends up being.
Probably a good idea. Okay. And then I asked the county if they would be willing to give some of the ACRA money to us, which is the COVID relief money. So they're figuring out what they want to do. So if you hear that, it was me that asked. And their response is, well, we have it all budgeted. And I say, I don't think so. It just doesn't make sense if you have $80 million in the bank. What you did is took money out of the left pocket and put it in the right pocket. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it is their pocket.
Well, it is their pocket, and I'm just asking because it was given to all the citizens of Twilla. And we're citizens of Twilla. We just incorporated late, so we don't get any by entitlement. We get it by asking.
Yeah. Would that been money for fiscal year 2022 or
There's 2
21?
tranches. The one's already been paid, and then there's one in the future. I'm hoping we can at least get some out of the future. 2023, in January. I can't remember. And that hasn't been budgeted.
Thank you, John.
So I'm trying to do some.
You raising a hand, Tim? Okay, that's allowed.
I very seldom speak in meetings.
I know, that's why I was kinda shocked.
I was excited that you wanted to say something.
I like talking to Tim. Is there anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, great. Okay, roads department. I'd start by saying I saw some, I think it's called Rotomill, putting some holes and things
I
on.
saw that too.
Right.
I saw that too.
Scott and I had a meeting with Bill yesterday. We had kind of 2 meetings going at the same time.
Tell them what you got straightened out first, and then I'll tell them what I learned.
I don't know that we got anything straightened out, but Jerry Caldwell and I were talking about the boundaries and whose roads, and so I got like a map from them of existing roads that they're going by for the city of Erda. The only question I have, and Scott and I got another meeting with Jake on Monday for a conference call with somebody, I don't know, so. Is that when you look at the boundaries, they have to use they use a thick marker type thing, so you don't know if, is this boundary in the middle of the road, or is it on the east side or the west side? So I don't know how, if you're gonna get precision to decide when you got this city here and this city there, where who has the road. So that was the only thing I was.
Or do you get half the road?
It depends on the boundary.
Right.
So, and usually if it's that 50-50 thing, they'll say, okay, if it's like 4 miles, you do 2 miles and we'll do 2 miles. But I guess sometimes they have had one do one side of the road and somebody do the other side of the road, so.
I was thinking more in terms of mileage, whatever that adds up to.
Right. And I think we did finally get the gravel figured out as far as where it went, where that was, and so. And then Scott, and then we did talk to him, and they says that they had a snow plow that's coming up, they're gonna replace or get rid of or something like that. And so we told them to kind of keep us in mind. They do it an in-house first thing first, and then they offered out to the cities and stuff, so. Not that we got any money or be able to do it, but at least we'll get to look at it and get a price range on what one it kinda costs and stuff.
Did he throw any numbers out there?
But it's gonna be in the next week or so, so we'll know fairly soon. So. And then he talked to Scott a lot about,
Yeah, so we went over all the roads in Erda, and, the evaluation, not that you can see this, but, all of the roads in Erda are color coded, based on what kind of condition they're actually in. So overall in Erda, we're in pretty decent shape. But there are some that are maybe about halfway down the scale. And by down the scale means at the very top, all you gotta do is, just be thinking about doing something. But at the very bottom, you've gotta actually rebuild the road. So there's some roads that are about halfway in between there. Excuse me, the majority of them though are a little bit above halfway, and a few of them are right at the top. So what that means is we need to be planning to move forward when it becomes our responsibility to keep the roads sealed and chipped and in good shape. And the general thought pattern is it's a lot cheaper, and he showed me some of the figures here of what it costs to keep the roads in good shape as opposed to repairing them. And sure, it's a lot cheaper to keep them in good shape than it is to rebuild them. So when we start doing our own roads, we need to be budgeting for this, and comes right down to the cost per square foot. So they have it down to a pretty exact science, and he gave us a couple of the different contractors that they use when they don't do it themselves. They do a lot of it themselves, and it saves them money, of course. But we won't be able to do that for a while. So
we're not on any of their schedules either for the time from now.
right. Because we're in pretty good shape, they don't have any major, overhauls or anything planned.
The newer subdivisions in my district, the new asphalt's got cracks in them 2 inches wide.
So that was where I was headed with this.
Great.
The roads that are the farthest down the list as far as going to be needing more attention, it seems like just as I look at these, most of these roads are fairly new roads. I'm not sure why that would be, unless the roads were not put in properly to begin with. A lot of the older roads that we look at on here are up to maybe 65%, where 100% is they're in perfect shape. And we have a lot of that, but we do have a certain amount of those that are right down around 50 and 45%. And so I thought it was very helpful what they told us and the advice they gave us, and I feel a lot better about our future in our roads than I did a couple of days ago.
So I just heard from one side of the room that we're not on their schedule at all for any maintenance this year.
Well, other than just little things that they see, I think they don't have any projects planned, is the way I understood it.
Like, if you got a pothole, you can call them, they can come fill it.
About cracks that thick.
Well, I guess guess you can call
And we ought to let them know, because that is one thing they emphasize, that you wanna stay on top of that. When there are cracks in the road, you wanna get that, it's not tar, he had a name for it, but get it out and hot seal it.
them, kind of slurry stuff.
Do it, and do it in the summer, because in the wintertime, it's gonna, the cracks are gonna just get bigger as water gets in there and freezes. And
So the public can let us know if there's a problem, and then we let the
Oh,
roads department
they
know.
should call the county and go.
Yeah, for right
Call
now,
the county.
right now, just call the county roads department. And they seemed, when we talked about potholes, they seemed to be perfectly, glad when people call them, because they don't know where the potholes are,
Yeah, makes sense.
driving the roads.
Your meeting with them yesterday was pretty coincidental with all those holes being filled today.
I guess you could look at it that way.
Except for one particular that I told them about and it still's not done.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was happy to see that. So, okay, anything else on roads?
We do have another,
Yep.
well,
We got a meeting on Monday.
and then Scott graciously volunteered me for a working group for the Mid-Valley Highway.
You know you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're talking about extending the Mid-Valley Highway now. Their overall plan is for it to end up going west of Twilla all the way up to Highway 36. Just about halfway between Twilla and Stockton.
Right now, they're working on the environmental study, and
Yeah.
all they know for sure is it has to be, what'd they say, 3/4 of a mile away from that massive pipeline.
It has to be that far away from it? Yeah, one obstacle we have is that high pressure petroleum line that runs from, is it Wyoming where it starts, or is it Montana? And goes all the way to Las Vegas. They had to deal with those people, like 2 years ago. And these,
$1 million.
yeah, they,
Move a quarter of it.
yeah, they did not want to deal with them again. Apparently these are rough people to deal with, and it's really expensive, so that's a real problem, you know, when you think about, why doesn't the Mid-Valley Highway go up Sheep Lane? You know, you already got a 2-lane highway there, and it's because of that high pressure petroleum line.
Wow.
I don't know if we can have any real influence there on that, but so far, all we're talking about is the impacts that it'll have on our community if they put it in one spot as opposed to another spot. And then the engineering won't go forward until sometime after April.
We gotta be aware of where that pipeline comes through. Does it come through Erda at all then? You said it comes on Sheep Lane, so.
Yeah, it comes up the east side of Sheep Lane, and probably won't remember this, Cale, but there was an old rail line that went from Twilla's Main Street, or Twilla's Center Street, all the way down to Marshall, goes right through Terry's community down there.
Yeah, the old rails.
Comes up, when it comes up Sheep Lane, it gets so far south, and then it starts to follow that. It breaks off and goes east and follows that.
It's the old railroad grade, it just
Yeah.
follows the outside of that railroad grade.
But any kind of future planning around that, we're gonna have to know that that pipeline's there, and I'm sure that there's special.
Jake knows exactly where it was. He was showing us, actually.
It's got markers all the way along, it's got
Yeah.
big yellow pipes that show you exactly where it's at.
Oh, that's interesting.
And if you ever go to Delta, you can see it going all the way down that way as well.
Yeah,
Comment from the,
So I was gonna ask on the map, I would assume that the county goes out and maps the roads.
Yeah.
In the future, that won't happen, I would assume.
We'll have to
Is
do
there
that.
a plan or how would we do that?
It sounds like they did it in December, and they do it every December to try and figure out where they're at to plan the coming season. And I don't know exactly, I should have asked them that question. How did you determine, you know, maybe you drive the roads and,
I guess my
I don't know.
question is, in the future, I assume the county's not going to do that.
Yeah.
Moving forward,
yeah, if we
have to take care of, and how would we do that?
as far as assessing the condition of the roads,
We'd have to get an engineer to look
yeah,
at.
I don't know, we'll have to, I don't know.
something to look into.
It's called a pavement management system, and they actually go out and drive it and rate the roads.
It's somebody, a contractor we can hire.
You can hire a contractor, this case sounds like Twilla has their own people. Salt Lake County has their own people. Some of the cities hire them out. Then they, the city engineer then brings that list to the city council, says here's what we need, and city council gives this much money, and
Just use a car with no suspension.
Yep, that one's gotta get.
If you hit the roof, it's a F, and if you hit it right on,
So you were talking about the county is still responsible for maintaining these roads for how long?
Until the end of June for sure, maybe till the end of September.
And is that, so we have main roads, like we have Thruway, we have Erdway, we have neighborhood roads. Does that encompass all roads under the new Erda city? So like, for example, our neighborhood has only had that slurry seal once, we only had one, in 15 years we've been there, we've had one road maintenance service. So we're supposed to contact the county?
Seems like we ought to be able to do it right away then, huh?
they said something about a 5-year plan. It's every 5 years they do that slurry gravel.
Yeah.
They-
Yeah.
They've said that they would like to do them every 7 years, but the reality is they get done about every 10 years.
Bill told me 5.
So if you've been there 15 years, yeah, you've probably only had it done once.
We have some pretty rough roads.
Is that right? So which street is this?
Well, it's through the Brookville Estates neighborhood.
They're, I don't drive through there. They're getting pretty bad, Cal, are they? Not to question yours, but have you noticed that they're getting bad?
On my street, it's not too bad, but yeah, the ceiling isn't there. So, I mean, I think as the ground, if the ground were to move and everything, it really get bad. So, yeah, I think the ceiling needs to happen.
So there's two types of that ceiling. One of them is called,
But it's a good thing to bring up to the county then, give them a call and, yeah, that is a good thing to bring up to them.
those are the cheaper things that they do though, is sealing that and making those cracks seal up and,
I don't know if anyone in the neighborhood has called them, cause that might be what had to,
I'll call them.
yeah, cause I think that's what they're saying here is they need people to call them to tell them.
That's what I remember from our meeting.
Makes sense. Yep.
Anything else on roads?
no,
Okay, police?
Don't really have anything for tonight, no?
Say that Travis back,
yeah, we
to
maybe
his name
could mention that.
Yeah, Travis Romney has
after last week.
declined for now.
We're kinda nervous about our money situation, probably.
Yeah, as you can imagine.
I don't blame him.
Solid waste.
Right now, county for 5.5 years.
I feel really good about that.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
easier for
I'm
us.
gonna remove that from the agenda then. Ordinance adoptions, we might as well give an update on the discussion series.
Yeah, so Anthony,
Contact.
Anthony can't come this week. He's having a hard time finding the right students, right? He wants to find the perfect students for this, that he thinks can be an asset to help the event. So, he's gonna get back to me on what the next 2 dates he can come, but he can't come this Friday. So, no discussion series this Friday, but I'll inform the public on, when he gets back to me and what dates he can come. And then we'll have to see if we can get this room locked down for it. If not, maybe the fire station. But how long a notice would you need, Craig, to see if we can secure this room for it?
The earlier we do it, the better. I mean, it's a first come, first serve.
There's no reason it has to be here. We could do it at the complex too.
Yeah, just
We could do it at the complex. I don't think we could do it at the
Better
fire station.
Fire station,
yeah.
More
The
room.
fire station's pretty small, so that'd be the
We had
complex.
last time, the complex would work better.
Maybe the complex is better than here,
Probably.
honestly.
Yes,
I think after that first one, this next one might get even bigger.
maybe. I hope so.
There was a problem with commo and stuff like that though, right?
A problem with what?
The video and all that, and
Oh,
televising it or whatever.
oh, I don't know.
Oh, YouTube videos on there with the audio.
Seems like there was an issue not too long ago.
It wasn't working with a Wi-Fi hotspot, because a lot of people complained to me that they, they could see it, but they couldn't hear anything.
Okay.
That happens when that's a technical issue on my end.
Okay.
Is that what you want to say? Okay. Yeah, sorry. I need better staff.
You can just see all your smiling faces and your motions.
Where's the IT guy?
No, so yeah, that's what's going on.
Anyway, we are expecting to have 2 more meetings, and we have allocated funds for that.
Yep. So we're expecting it. He's just looking for the people to help him. So.
Kel, I did contact Solus about those while we were still talking about them and invited them. I don't know that anybody's told them that we won't have it this week, so.
Okay, I've got that guy's contact. I can email him, let him know. Because it would be good if we do decide to go into contract with Somas that they've attended these. This is a good event for them to come in.
He was very excited when I invited him. He wanted to be there.
Good. No, that'd be awesome. Give them some ideas on what they can do too to get good outcomes and good participation in their events if they have them here. Awesome.
Sweet. Thank you. I don't have anything for IT. Office location, we're still waiting on a finalized proposal from the fire department for the West Erda building. And I put the advertisement for the city clerk recorder position up on Indeed today. And if I can get some time tomorrow, I will put that up on Facebook as well.
Perfect.
What about a league? League?
League of Nations, League of,
Utah League of Cities and
League,
Towns.
yeah, sorry, League of Cities.
That's where most of the people have experience.
Do we need a login for that?
Call
They're pretty helpful. The League of Cities and Towns, they're good to work with. And Scott, you've worked with them too. Yeah, they're good.
If anybody from the public has anyone that would be interested in the position, it's a part-time position. It'll be call it $20 an hour up to $30,000 per year. Part-time, email me your resume, jbird, jbird @erda.gov. Please do.
If you got grant knowledge, that's a plus.
That's right.
And knowledge on how to get grants.
We have a grant helper in the audience too, so.
Actually, you want an update on that?
Please, absolutely.
March 4th, they closed the legislature, and there's a bunch of different options out there for us. That they're hoping it was usually just for counties and stuff. Now they are opening them up for the cities and townships. And she wants to meet with us after the 4th, so,
When you say she,
the gal from.
the one I sent you,
Yes.
Eden Johnson,
Yes, she
Okay.
wants to meet up and she wants to go over what we can get and what we can apply for.
I'm supposed to have a phone call with her tomorrow or Monday, so.
Are you?
Yep, so good, I'm glad.
And I would like to, I'm actually gonna try to, just for my own personal, go into it, they have a grant writing class. That-
Grant writing,
writing, how to write the grant, how to get what you want. in
I
there.
see, okay,
So I'm gonna probably do that just for my own.
thank you,
So
good.
hopefully there's some, she sent me a whole list of stuff that'll be open up for the cities and towns.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for all the work you put into this.
And I'd still like to get in touch with the mayor of.
I know. I haven't thought about it since you spoke to me last, until you walked in and sat down. Brian Johnson. I have him on speed dial. Hey, my phone has speed dial. Well, it's kind of
It's
slow.
just a different speed.
It's kind of slow, but it's.
This kind of speed.
Have we had any council representative meetings? No COG meetings, no mosquito meetings?
I've been to a mosquito meeting, yeah. Got one next week.
I hit a bug today. Just a matter of time.
Wow.
It's just a matter of time.
Wow.
Little gnats are gonna start showing up too.
Okay, general comments from our attorney or any council member.
So, let me segue off of Darlene here.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with a gal this week from the Wasatch Front Regional Council. And she's gonna send me information, my email, but she said most of their grants come in the fall. They work them out in the fall and then they hand them out in the spring. So she's gonna be in touch with me, but there is one specifically for the general plan. So we may be able to cover the costs, but we won't get it for a year, because they've already set them out, but, and so in conjunction with what Darlene's doing, she's gonna send us some information on things that we could apply for. A lot of them have to do with, things like parks and recreations and housing and urban development and those kinds of things that probably wouldn't apply to us, but.
I don't think a whole lot of grants are out there for startups, but I still think we need to get organized and
Yeah,
put our name in the hat for.
There is one other guy that I called, that hasn't called me back. So, yeah, so we're still looking for opportunities to receive funds.
Probably went through 300 grants already this week.
You went through 300?
Just looking through and seeing what would fit for us, for police and general startup.
Wow,
There's a lot out there.
wow, 300.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, somebody want to make that final motion?
I so move that we adjourn.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Here's your guys' options for business cards.
Fill this out.
You'll need your two information.
I need business card.
For you guys.
Name and for like these, but
Good.
I feel.
That's.
Do you really?
I think it's important, to be.
Oh, I'm gonna ask him.
Somebody.
Oh, yeah, serious?
Thick.
So,
How did you?
There's
I'll be
7,
inviting you to the,
You do this?
7
you want me to invite you to the planning meeting?
we appoint.
You know about them?
we got black and then
Know when they are?
on the one side, and the other, but I am gonna put your calendar in your district in there.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
There was.
First one.
Yeah, at some point, right.
Yeah, so we'll keep it simple and we'll just.
I just want to make sure that you know,
Oh, Matt, Luke.
welcome to be there or not to be there. What do you want to do?
Would we all have the same one?
You wanna move?
That's kind of why.
That would make.
Right.
Water, lime,
This
just.
is the white,
If there's things that we
Well,
see,
and this is the,
it's not a legal issue, but
this is where we do the white.
No, not yet.
I call you about that.
I do
Bill.
pull her away, then across
So the blue is
the
not an
property line
option?
between Brandon
Well,
and
it's
Laura.
black actually,
And
but if we
black.
want to
Hornet.
do blue,
property.
Glasses.
Well,
sure those colors.
I think this looks really.
On all our other documents, we signed
I told
here.
Junior that we
Corey's.
gotta make him pay
If
for it
it
if
was
he does
other
that.
colors, we probably need red.
It shouldn't come for free.
Everybody had nominated something.
That subdivision.
I thought there was something else I need to do.
Mine.
Yep.
I don't know what he's doing.
The people.
Okay, I just.
So it's up
and
to
I
you
just
guys.
thought
I
of it
mean,
just now, when you talked about roads.
and how you
Because
want
he
it
approached me
laid out.
Planning commission.
wanting
I
to
think
cut
this looks
across
great.
your stuff. And
Down with the
behind
I
his
think I would prefer it this
to
way
do
as
that, and I
opposed
says,
to this
no,
way.
The things that I said.
when I do that, then you be
votes, right?
careful about my electric tank. And
For recorder is Corey.
I think I'll cross you out.
Or is, I did the property line on these.
Fine. I think we have.
You better
It'd be
get
awesome.
number,
All that stuff.
I haven't heard
Address,
anything.
you wanna write it
Write that
back?
down.
The only thing I filled in, I haven't heard anything, put everything in auto.
So much
We need,
fully.
We don't put our address.
I think it does.
No, I'm gonna leave that open until we
Give
get.
her my info.
It must have reverted when I,
Personal grants.
Because if I write it, she won't be able to read it.
that was the last.
We have, it's their business.
Oh, I know.
We got this way.
Headline.
I'm District 1.
No, I know, but
My District
He
1?
gave
all of the,
districts, so
yeah, I know, well, not,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
here, or we
Works.
this way,
The Ochre development.
I think we have time, so I think we just wait.
black,
no, I'm
this way,
Oh,
or a blue.
reverted before I,
I'm more of a black.
Like, I don't know,
I'd have to have it.
like John said, you know, that.
Okay, do you want this background
I know.
black,
Black.
blue?
Sell it, right? Everybody would want that.
Because it's confusing to me.
which was the last
Gonna buy it.
Henderson told me
thing, why did not,
I shouldn't
yeah,
Because it didn't start.
The blue one? Is that what you said?
under here, because
Oh.
I've always kind of.
it is weird, because.
That's what we'll do.
Oh, shoot.
You wanna redo it?
Hey, Corey,
Go look up Craig's number.
right here, that
Should
one,
have it memorized. I only come in 4 times a week.
okay.
Ask what?
Write it in if you,
What would you prefer?
well, where do these go? How
Just
often are they
for,
gonna get looked at?
And that might be,
Give me a black or blue pen.
You have one, right?
Well, this is kind of a, if you scan it, it might not pick up.
look at what we got sent. Look at what,
Oh,
or,
Here, I have a blue.
perfect.
Either one is fine.
Be distracted.
Maybe in the show next to it or
Yeah,
something.
I will. I know I changed that.
Somebody, can I disconnect?
So,
I'd rather
Do
you
you
can
want-
you can disconnect.
do you want me to write motion